All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Ka Halayim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Harakak Badash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and my elder Heroine as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, I'm Kanak Shalom Ban Yashar Allah from the Lions of the Yashar account. And this is another Lions Den News and Prophecy. And this is on the article that states, full U.S. government shutdown likely could impact Fed PIMCO. All right. It says a full lengthy shutdown of the United States government is likely at the end of the month and should leave the Federal Reserve reluctant to raise interest rates in November. Analysts at bond giant PIMCO said in a note on Tuesday. If the government shuts down, there may not be a catalyst for it to reopen, given the complicated internal dynamics of House Republicans, said Libby Cantrell, head of public policy at PIMCO, which oversees $1.7 billion in assets. It says current funding for most U.S. government programs, except for the military and Social Security payments, expire on September 30th. If lawmakers are unable to pass a new budget by then, large swaths of government functions would shut down. An event strategist at Goldman Sachs estate would reduce U.S. economic growth by 0.2% for each week it lasts. A government shutdown is not seen as toxic a threat to the economy as a default on its debt, which Congress avoided by raising the debt ceiling earlier this year. America has no choice but to default on that debt. They can't pay it, man. The United States government will continue to make payments on Tuesday, Treasury bonds, and other forms of debt during its shutdown. The U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy told reporters on Monday he would bring two spending bills to the House floor for consideration this week, including a short-term stopgap measure to see if they can pass. Congress is unlikely to pass spending bills quickly due to a renewed focus on deficits among Republicans and some moderate Democrats after the large fiscal stimulus program that supported the economy during the COVID, oh my goodness, during the pandemic. Can't really talk on this, I apologize. It says, Cartrill said in a panel last week, it says the government shutdown would prevent the collection of and release of key market data, including gross domestic product. But there's there's really no gross domestic products here in America. Unemployment figures and inflation data clouding the ability of central bankers to gauge the strength of the economy, Cottrell says. The Fed, who has emphasized how data dependent it currently is, would be flying blind in the central bank's policy meeting in November, she said. At the same time, so the meeting that they're having in November, which a lot of stuff like one of the things me and the elder were talking about how there's going to be a recession. We're going to call it a recession moving into probably the first week of October. So it'll be good and set during around the time of November. And if we have the shutdown and they don't have the data that they need to present whatever their case they're going to present within this meeting, the Feds needs this information to even decide whether they're going to raise, lower, or keep the interest rates the same when they show up to this meeting in November. They say they'll be flying blind. All right, and pretty much that's the sake of the dollar anyway. The dollar itself has everybody flying blind because it's not. There's nothing backing it. It's a fiat currency that's backed by de facto, and they use the military and the trade of petroleum to keep it stagnant or to keep it, up. All right, it says at the same time a shutdown would coincide with the resumption of student loan payments rising gasoline prices, and auto work strikes, potentially non-essential government employees, Cantrell said. The impact of a shutdown on the United U.S. stock has been slight. The S&P 500 has fallen by an average of 0.4% in the week before a shutdown and gained 0.1% over the length of all shutdowns since 1976, according to the CFRA research data. All right, it says economists and capital economists, meanwhile, said in a note on Monday that the risk of a shutdown is rising, but said they expect a quick resolution. Right. Then if they were expecting a quick resolution, they wouldn't even call for the shutdown. Hey, and if they did call for the shutdown, they wouldn't have made it be publicly known. Like, you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't even making a big deal. Well, they're not really making a big deal about it because they're kind of sweeping it on the rug. But you know, well, that even supports the point because this shutdown is going to impact a lot of things, and at the time where they're going to be calling for that we're entering into a recession, you know, and in addition to that, they're talking about cutting on those towers. So this government shutdown, um, along with other things, it's going to what put pressure on the economy, which is already pressure on the economy. So there's pressure on the people, and pressure busts pipes. All right, people are almost already to their wits' end, and luckily things like Social Security and military pay are still going to be funded and paid for it during the shutdown. But I wonder what things the shutdown will affect. All right, all right. So let's see what things get affected during a government shutdown. All right, all right. It says it says a list of 9 things the 9 most painful impacts of a government shutdown. All right, one, more than 2 million federal workers will see their paychecks delayed, and 800,000 of them might never get repaid. So that's people that, and we're already in tough times where inflation is killing everything. All right, and remember the time back in 2019? Or, yeah, 2018, 2019, when all y'all was begging for Trump to open back the government up. I said, or was it Trump? It was somebody I forgot who was president, but Jake was begging for him to reopen the government. Verse number 2, it says millions of veterans may not receive benefits if the shutdown lasts more than 2 weeks. All right, it says the CDC will halt. Yeah, we don't care about that, but they might even keep that going. It says some food safety operations would cease. So now there goes contamination of food, which can ignite a famine. As a nutritional program for women, infants, and children could be disrupted after weeks, like WIC. If it affects WIC, it could possibly affect food stamps. I said 6. Financing for small business could be hampered. 7. The tourist trade would take a hit. 8. Head Start program for hundreds of kids will slowly start closing. Wow. And those Head Start programs are mainly in the hood. That's why the scriptures say, "Train up a child in the way it should go, and they shall not depart from it." And number 9, it says disability benefits could be interrupted. All right. So disability benefits could get interrupted. So a lot of people be affected, from a government shutdown, man. So that's why we don't seek refuge in this place, man. We seek refuge in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. That's it. All right, so this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. To close it out, it says, remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, until the evil, while the evil days come not. So, it's best to seek the Lord early, man. Don't be waiting until you're about to die, or wait until, like, the missile's about to come to start trying to turn to the Lord. Turn to the Lord before the evil gets here. All right, it says, remember now the Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light and the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. Right. So it's gonna be too late if you start seeing the missiles hitting the mushroom clouds coming everywhere. Now you're trying to turn to the Lord. It's gonna be too late, man. It says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, right? And those are the upper elites, the government officials, right? And your upper elites, So now, what the shutdown of that's a sign of trembling with them shutting down the government like that. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders shall cease. Right? They stop. There ain't gonna be no work. They ain't working in the White House. It says because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, man. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And they're already talking about the rise of homelessness and the increase the increase of unemployment. And he shall stand up and rise up at the voice of the birds, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Right? When they shall be afraid of that which is high, and the fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden a burden, and a desire shall fail. Like any little thing could cause this place to collapse. Like a grasshopper is going to be annoying. So any small thing is going to cause any type of disruption in the system, man. Because man goeth to his long home, and mourners go about the streets, man. So this place is being brought low, man. The mirth of this place is being taken away by the spirit of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, that's why it says, remember the Creator in the days of thy youth, in the beginning, while you're young, vibrant. That's not only necessarily talking about age, but don't wait till if you have an opportunity to turn to the Lord, turn to Him right then. Don't wait till you feel like shit's about to get crazy, and then now you want to turn to the Lord and trying to seek refuge at that time because it's going to be too late, man. So it says the government shutdown, right, is going to affect many people, you know, and it's all being done by the will of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, Lord willing, this lesson edified, and Lord willing, this lesson was edifying and served its purpose. With that, I'd like to say, Kal Halayim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Harakak Wadash Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and my elder Harold one as well. Salutations to the occupant of the pushing the truth, the sincerity and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.